Greetings, my name is Shakara Buckson, and I am in the Liberty University HSCO 511 Group Dynamics. And today I will be reporting to Dr. Tyson for the group leading report. This past Thursday, December 7th, at 7 p.m., I hosted my first group. I'm so excited to say that. And I actually had a co-leader who was my good friend, and she also has her master's in social work and counseling, and something that she eventually wants to move into as well. During the group session, we had 6 ladies that actually came out and participated. I invited a total of 10. So I was excited that 6 actually came to show up for the actual group session that we had. And once again, that group session was to discuss the transition period for women ages 21 to 30. And during this transition time, women are going from high school to college. Some are transitioning from college into the real world. Some are having an apartment for the first time. Some are getting, in serious relationships with men and women, or some are just, transitioning to really find themselves in their, their sexuality, or maybe have had a child, or just any type of experience that a young woman aged 21 to 30 may be experiencing. This was an open forum, a opportunity for them to come together in a group discussion. And the location was the Howard University School of Communication. And during the session, I actually, like I said, moved the chairs around in my group proposal because I knew how the classrooms were set up. That's where I went for undergrad. And we placed them in a half circle, and we were able to really enjoy each other's company and sit and look at each other in a normal group session. So I was very excited about the setup, and I was very excited that everything happened and came together as far as the logistics and the women coming out to support the actual group session. And so with that being said, I'm going to move into group dynamics, content, and process. So most of the women actually received the group in a positive manner. I knew some of the women mainly from school, work, colleague, or in a professional setting. That's how I knew the women, and I just invited them off of my network that I actually have for myself. And I used that time to in the beginning, of course, to discuss the group's purpose, as well as if they had any questions or expectations or anything that we want to take into consideration for the group, and the overall goal was during that beginning session. And I will say that's where most of my nervousness came out, because it was just, me opening up the session, and I was extremely nervous when it came to that. But I will say they became open as I became more comfortable in the role that I was leading. And one of my favorite techniques from Jacob was talking about rounds. And I used the example on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being quite a bit and 1 being very little. How would you rate your knowledge of a group session? And most of the ladies had little knowledge. Most of them thought it was just, a way that people kind of just sadly come together, or in movies where you just hear people doing group sessions, it doesn't seem like they're having a good time. It's just a depressing feeling. And they came to the conclusion that this is not what that is. This is actually an open forum for growth and healing, in an avenue that you may need or have. And of course, my good friend who had a master's in social work knew about the group session, but she was also the co-leader. And another example that I used was sentence completion. And I used the sentence, "I trust others most when." And I particularly used that sentence because Jacobs and the Coreys talks about building trust, and building trust with the group leader, as well as building trust with actual group members. And it talks about how over the course of the group that they should have group cohesion, and that we should come together. And so I thought, what better way than to discussing trust in one of the first sessions. And so one of the examples that a young lady used was that, she has a hard time trusting people that don't follow through on what they say that they're going to do. And, most of the ladies agree that that is a tough a tough standard to uphold, as far as it is hard to trust someone if they do not follow through on their word. So it was really good to hear and see a lot of the women, connect on larger issues that, came from the trust or the mistrust that they're displaying within their relationships or with even in the group. And one of the ladies, like I said, talked about how she could not move forward with people that don't follow through on what they say that they're going to do. And techniques that I used were active listening and linking. So I really tried to observe everyone's body language, how they were looking, whether they were smiling, whether their arms were crossed, whether they seemed disinterested, or whether they were nodding or, shaking their heads no, as well as linking. So I tried to link people into the conversation by, remembering and summarizing what one of the participants had stated. And I was like, oh, participant number 2, didn't you feel this way on that topic too? And that really helped bring the conversation together and helped make sure everyone was able to come together and, really speak and share how they were feeling in the moment. And I'm very proud of myself for my first group session. I was very nervous at first, but I was very pleased. And I knew that me doing pre-planning, such as an agenda, really truly helped me stick to everything. I will say the meeting did go over 15 minutes, but I will say it's because of my nervousness in the beginning, and I did kind of ramble, unfortunately. But I'm going to work on that and get a solid introduction for when I actually am doing and continuing to do the groups. As well as I will say that I need to work on using the use of eyes, which is to cut certain members off when they are, speaking or over speaking or are getting off subject, and the use of eyes to bring people into the conversation and help them to feel included. If I was to look at them and say, oh, such and such, how did you feel about that? Instead of just trying to see when other people are readily available to chime in. And last but not least, I would like to highlight my best experience was actually knowing that I could do it. I was very happy to see that I created a successful group session and that it actually assisted in the growth of their personal lives. And a lot of women said that they would continue to come to this. And I was very excited when I heard that. And so with that being said, I'm going to leave this with Ephesians 4:15-16, which states, rather, speaking the truth in love, we are to grow up in every way into Him who is the head, into Christ, from whom the whole body joined and held together by every joint with which it is equipped, when each part is working properly, makes the body grow so that it builds itself up in love. And I really truly feel like we are members of Christ and that we each are members of the body, and that when we have group sessions, we all have our different parts and we're all able to work together in order to make each other better and to make the group grow into the proper way that God would have it to grow, and for the purpose and the goal of the group and to better the women. And that is the end of my group leading report. I thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Tyson, and this is me ending my session. Thank you.